President Nelson Dafeamekpor a majority chief whip was a share or assembly catcher NPP for Munima or catcher mo party and are condemning Wontumi into prison. 20-year jail term no more be the suburban and more one party NPP for because a share NPP time BBC Parliament a ho and then Minister of Lands and Natural Resources Chairman Wontumi might say he's involved in illegal mining with Akonta mining. Abusiafo now we a shocking revelation. Yeah, and command ye dia about Chairman Wontumi jail term ni na amanfo adwema so enne any 1 week papa ye di Wontumi e ko chef yase 20 years. Abusiafo na Dennis Miracles Abuaje aspiring National Communications Director ma NPP was a share already who is Chairman Wontumi. He's not in prison because of Galamsey. Also no one no asem. Na no muns and I did a chef yase. Maka content me no bom right here on Sokatwa Show. Bestro, subscribe. We are bell notification icon blink or screen. Just turn it on. Video drop here once. Feel free to leave your comment in the comment section. Share link na ma for and you be ashe. We are Ukopiem, our Little Flower Green Clean Solution Center, you eco-conscious cleaning specialist. Abusiafo, ma catch na wa kan catch you say open cleaning company. Ama be press you fee honum office or hospital, church, bank, institution, bank, and a period you remember how you come at the amesho for numbers in English. You want to pa. Ya chili kwa ewe just ufra kana obakumasa just a traffic light no. O try up one set for sabroset also 1-2. I say o pay one sa ebeka sa na free. Kumasa na kwa akra udru just a traffic light na se pay one sabi nkumso. Abroset also 1-2. I say o pay one sa ebeka. Vending natural backups about able to menstrual pains and abdominal pains. I say, and the maturity men can way FDA approve and in 10 times so you intend to make to be what then two pains na say and abdominal pains any menstrual pains in a ebeyira. You couldn't put it in this miracles. The DNT and also want to be no some and now could prison.
Na Facebook war. And I'm tagging up some coy. There has to be a follow-up.
No, I'm quiet. I am a pen a minimum. I saw my opinion as a crab being a new to say, or Castle Nims and Crawford become one, not or bois. It's only moment. Any moment. Until I saw Chairman Wontumi being used as a scapegoat for political. You didn't say Chairman Wontumi, the anti-port demon because of Galamsey. So you didn't name. Because of Ninsem, the Numun
but so Cocotin,
oh, Sunday, see, there's a difference between the enemy. Any dia edapono so.
But say we embra na ye
oh ebi me no problem embra dia see embra dia you to me di juso no ye dia pe bia embra no to me betumi dia ye dia pe bia say wo no ebi betumi ye bone but that ban say me dia chew but the same bone na wo ye no be for ya say ye no be court. There's a big difference. Chairman Wontumi asemi nipa nankasa okọ asase no so koye Galamsey no Chairman Wontumi no no oni ko se wa koye Galamsey o nipa nankasa okọ asase no so koye Galamsey so no yam fa na yam prosecute no so me say yam prosecute no nti ya ban choice it is a make sure say 2 minutes embra de aban betumi use no so pe bia nti na any aban twen no me nti me ni aban twen because the aban person de ye obi aso person ye wa or the bayo aha
nti mo person mo de bi ye obi ana
so e bia o example bia betumi de ba at least me wo Chairman Wontumi de ye wo ho
aha no baby sa
ye de me nkai so kai no betumi aka but me Chairman Wontumi de ye wo ho ye nyina nim o man yin just say wo person pretending na onim say Chairman Wontumi a scapegoat. He's a political prisoner or he's in jail because of politics. Say Chairman Wontumi a politician and na nko ye Galamsey mpo a me nyini so kedem ko mo ye Galamsey say bebre ni mo nyina.
But na wo kana ya na mementi ase.
I won't say no man peni kai na oti ase.
Say the usika say wuni mo nyina.
No man peni kai na so man peni so kai. O kai na
me na una.
Dey bi ba so no so kai na oti. Ono so kai say ono so ni momo. O na oti na say. Ono no ko to me. Me body me opposition, me say me opposition me need to me.
And who would to me the and can dem wo to ho. But say Sabra no so adam wo to me Professor Frimpong Boatin wo no anka say mo member bo bi di ade tin na mo so.
On your Professor Frimpong Boatin report no say in fact in the western region omo here the biggest we find say participants e wo Galamsey NDC for it's in the report
na one can be so amfam
o kafa ye so ye ho
na de na mo
ye tunu ha na mo ntina kwhwe ye time almost about 170 people were sentenced for Galamsey.
We sentenced omo da so dem one so omo serve omo sentence.
No say various even one 6 months even one 2 years even one 3 years they were sentenced. Yes. Oh no you have to check. Yes. Inti the point is that Galamsey from the Bibri Say you Wontumi na you Wontumi. Ashanti regional chairman can some.
Oh, so you admit sending some your kind so no na enye.
No, enye say enye. Nemo say oka politics ni ye. Say oka some tiamia na tembenye tumi a dia mpe na metumi di tumi ne ye.
So ba wonim so ka bibi tie o mampanyi ni.
No, no mean man so di natem ana anti bibi sa. Menim so ye politics say some mampanyi so can some any NDC for so can some tie Akufo-Addo. That is why I always have a problem. Let me tell you one of the things that scares me a lot is when I feel that the America ebetumi am obi gwefu no I me bone.
Okay.
It scares me a lot. I'm very worried about it because otherwise, what is the beauty of the democracy here away?
But sisi ana who ne se wo ka bibi e kan krofo anti ebetimi ayo bone.
Debi.
Na ne dan na gamale no be hia yo kan se ne nkofo se wo kasa dodo na.
Nti na maintenance no. So I just nti na maintenance no. Say adenti a yen kasa. Uko other countries so much to. Yen sen omo. Uko other countries so much to. Yen sen omo. In other countries, Burkina Faso, Guinea, Mali, how much you no mo didi nkomo. Yen sen omo. Say yen dey be ya na say be sra no pa na be ka say me no nya adwen. O so be 24-hour economy. 133 untumi ye. Nti wasa. Bomode national ya. Sade wasa. Untumi ye. Nti bia me kan e yo ya say me toto. But em fa no ho abufuo mfa weni be tata me. Say na me ka want ya say. Because after all, the NDC for Katia MPP aban ye akakotambo.
Monka kota.
Nti afia de.
Maybe sa o monka.
Baby, oh, na de MPP NDC for Kai say na say ina na ye ba ha. Akufo-Addo ye kromfo. Akufo-Addo ye say achim mafia thief. Shortman devil. Why you say money din bebre. And this for to me here chichire throw book ejapade throw book nyina hye Akufo-Addo. Why na ndi Akufo-Addo atem e wo man we mu. Why na ndi Akufo-Addo atem what say obi ka say na ne buefu no say no nti me dey me view there speech should not be criminalized. Speech should not be fashion ho. Say duma ya see e be ya friend of politics here see leadership in politics. Ebi say odo ho bedi mu a de yeka de be make say footballers and politicians eye nipa bi a obi emu wo mu ye bomu di mpen na ga Akufo-Addo tuwe Akufo-Addo o man tem obetu babo ndi say Akufo-Addo papa peni ogodi 8 years o man tem anka pa say friend Akufo-Addo His Excellency John Dramani Mahama John Mahama uko street obi ya say John Mahama no na tem antemu a nko ye nyina ye papa onye nyina ye ja nka obetu ma friend John Mahama Stephen Apia should be native efia kwa kodu ye da so boni din pain politicians and footballers here sanity ya obobo no amboni ye be do atem sa na politics so be di mu asa nti as a politician you can't get sentimental and emotional about speech you can't to me this be a threat and a bia a bibia a true so like defamation near the end you can deal with that.
We are pay and I'm doing him our channel 1 television. But lovely on key points a host to majority chiefship. Roxanne Nelson Dafeamekpor any mention member of parliament. Honorable Bafuwa. Anna chiefship in HM say want to be say BBC or parliament to Manana Akufo-Addo Kwambuka Kasa Quantum mining is not involved in illegal mining. Then you move a pen a minority then. Who's an NDC minority? Almost wholly the Attorney General and of course the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources say and some course about illegal mining near Nyai and to Muntu Wana mo say ho and a then Minister of Lands and Natural Resources ebe Chairman Wontumi mai and the Chairman Wontumi asemono or see a shot saying you know MPP time or more MPP for and the Nako Chef yes nebusia for then Bafuwa was Bafuwa so chim say no already documented the judgment no I said there's no documentary evidence that just Chairman Wontumi a consigning assignment no Emma will be so illegal mining then yeah Dafeamekpor sabi see a chese there be ye ka enyina so ni evidence and documentary evidence in quite the adwuma busia kwhwe debate no
I as somebody who made my name as a criminal law practitioner. It's always difficult when your client gets convicted. It's not a pleasant scenario, and I've suffered it severally. I remember. So let me leave it. But you see, the NPP as a government, NPP-led government about 18 months ago. The NPP as a government itself condemned Chairman Wontumi
As a government?
As a government.
When was that?
Please, I will establish this. The NPP as a government established that Chairman Wontumi's activities, which became a subject of prosecution in the matter under reference, as illegal. And so at the time in Parliament, we were demanding, anytime Godfrey Dami came to Parliament, we were demanding that he should proceed to prosecute Wontumi. And I'm shocked that people haven't followed that. To the extent that when the then president held, I think there was a media engagement, and the matter came up, a journalist asked him, and he said categorically that per his records, Akunta Mining was not engaged in any Galamsey activities anywhere. As a minority, we proceeded to invite the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources to come and address the House. Because we told him that we have evidence to the contrary. Now, when he was coming, we actually demanded the regulators, the Minerals Commission. So they also came. It was there that the minister came to say that per his records, Akunta Mining has no license to mine in the areas under reference. He said it categorically. It became a news item. In fact, if you read 30th September 2022 online news items, you will capture it, because I was one of the key people who led that discussion on the floor. Then the third day, the Minerals Commission itself had to issue a statement to actually clarify the issues. So we, as a minority, we have been demanding that if the government was really interested in fighting Galamsey, Akunta Mining, owned by Chairman Wontumi, ought to be one of his primary should be one of his subject of prosecution.
Okay.
We made these demands. Of course, we did politics with it, because the issue was that the government was not committed to fighting Galamsey, because some of government's own kingpins, party financiers, party officers were involved in it, and we're always citing Wontumi, and we're always brandishing the minister's statement that Akunta Mining had no permit to engage in activities that he was engaged in, which became a topical matter, affirmed by the Minerals Commission. And we caution them that if you don't do it, if we find the evidence in such a way that we're minded to prosecute, we will prosecute successfully. So Chairman Wontumi himself was condemned by his own party at the time. Let the record reflect this, that it was not the NDC that went after him. It was government, his own government, that established those facts before we came to inherit it. And that's one. Two. Now, I heard Bafo speak about direct evidence. And he knows that as in our criminal law jurisprudence, evidence not always be direct. What is important is relevant evidence. Section 57 of the Evidence Act, 323. 2, if the evidence is relevant, will be admitted subject to some conditions. If it will not prejudice the matter, it will be admitted. All right? And when it is admitted, then the court will place a probative value on the evidence so admitted. And I'll be damned going through the judgment proceedings to discover that there's no direct evidence, because the direct evidence have been available. And we have worked with some in Parliament as a matter of politics on the floor. When issues of Galamsey fight erupted 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. So I want to say that I also haven't seen the judgment yet. I asked for the charge sheet actually. Somebody promised to ferry it to me. It hasn't come in yet. So by all means, he has the right to an appeal, and he has very very good, bright lawyers. So it is not the end. Like we say, it's not the end at all. If he's minded to appeal, he can appeal. But don't let the discussion be tilted to the fact that NDC targeted him.
Well, in the NPP statement, they say they consider Wontumi a political prisoner.
Let me
statement signed by Justin.
So I want to discredit that statement here with the evidence that Kodria's own government, his own government, 5 years ago, they damned Wontumi. They disowned him. They told him that he was engaged in an illegality.
Really?
In fact, the minister used.
Akufo-Addo said that Akota mining was not engaged in illegal mining. Yes. That story is January 4, 2023. President Akufo. Of course, this was before the 2024 matter.
So I'm saying that the minister responsible for lands and natural resources actually used the language illegality. Was engaged in an illegality. So the legality or otherwise of his actions was established long ago, before the NDC assumed power yesterday.
What I remember though is that Bafo, Occupy Ghana in October 2022 demanded prosecution of Akonta mining directors. Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining demanded prosecution of Akonta mining directors. Kenna Shigbe, of course, in another interview also, in fact, he described Akufo-Addo's defense of Akonta mining as unfortunate. So it's been building up since 2022.
In fact, we have been demanding. We have been demanding that the government. Yes, hold on, let me finish. We have been making the demand that if the government was not complicit in the fight against Galamsey, it should have the courage to go after one of its own, at least as a scapegoat, because the evidence against it was uncontroverted, at least at that time, though not judicially tested, as it's been established now.
Although the offense, as we see in the charge sheet I have here, is a 2024 offense. So I need to say that even though there's been agitations against Akonta mining in 2022, the particulars of the offense he was convicted for are offenses which were supposedly committed in 2024.
So it even aggravates the
Somebody
situation.
has sent me a copy of the judgment
as
we speak.
So can you go through?
If you can also send me a copy.
And as I said, the judge acknowledged one thing, which is that the supposed assignment, the alleged assignment, is undocumented. And so there was no evidence of any such assignment, which, as was alleged, the default of ministerial approval becomes a basis for a criminal prosecution. Now, listen to what the judge said. The arrangement that the first accused had with PW2 is not documented. There's also no witness to the discussion which resulted in the arrangement, so there's no direct evidence on the matter. We all know, this for me is very, very important. You see, it's not about demands for people to be prosecuted. It is not enough, because look, even Jesus Christ, our Lord and Master Savior, whom we serve, the allegations that were made against him, at the end of the day, no evidence was found. And so we should be careful, because oftentimes we risk, having an innocent person jailed. This is the judge saying that the so-called arrangement, which is called the assignment, is undocumented. There's no witness to it. There's no direct evidence before the court. And so on what basis do you come to the conclusion that there was an assignment which required ministerial approval, and therefore the absence of it make it a criminal offense?
Arguments should rather be in the converse.
So we can
now, Bernard, you see, Bafo's arguments should rather be in the converse. What finds an offense? Absence of regularity.
Okay.
That's what finds an offense. So when they say you have committed an offense, it means you have acted irregularly, unlawfully, illegally. You have breached a certain law that says that a thing be not done. And if you do it, then you have committed you have committed a wrongful act. But for that to be elevated to be an offense, then we must establish whether you have an intent to do it. So, listening to Bafo carefully, I think he is rather saying that then Akunta mining was wrong.
No.
Oh, hold on. Because for you to first of all enter the forest reserve legitimately to operate lawfully, then you need an assignment properly executed and with ministerial.
I think you've misconceived it.
No, I haven't.
No, the offense
because
against him
you agree that
no, he's talking about the offense of assigning illegally
yes
a mining right to a person without ministerial consent.
Exactly.
Yes. And he's saying that the judge is admitting, I haven't seen the full,
I've sent it to you,
that there is no written assignment of that transfer of the right to the person to mine.
Yes.
So it was circumstantial evidence that
check
led
page 23 of
the conclusion that Mr. Wontumi assigned the mining lease to this other party without written approval.
Good. Now, direct evidence can be led to this effect. That is why witnesses are called to testify and for evidence to be adduced and recanted. You lead evidence and recant evidence. So it's not only documentary proof, that is direct evidence.
The judge also admits that there is also no witness to the discussion which resulted in the arrangement.
What page is this?
You see,
page 23.
You see, all those about the preparation of a document.
Last paragraph.
Now, if you are caught in the act,
let me read the whole thing.
Infragrante delicto. If you are caught infragrante delicto.
Let me read that part. Where, as in this case, direct evidence is lacking on the matter.
The last paragraph.
I'm coming.
So,
yes.
So
a
the
court
arrangement.
Of law, I've moved there.
Okay.
Where, the arrangement that the first accused, Wontumi, had with PW2, the witness 2, or whoever the person is not documented. There is also no witness to the discussion which resulted in the arrangement. So there is no direct evidence on the matter. Then she goes on. Whereas in this case, direct evidence is lacking on a matter, a court of law is entitled to rely on circumstantial evidence. Then she quotes Dua versus the Republic, 87-88, Ghana Law Reports 343. The Court of Appeal explained the role of circumstantial evidence and then explains it quite in a bulky way. Yeah. At law, circumstantial evidence must lead to an irresistible conclusion, which conclusion must be incompatible with the innocence of the accused person on the fact in issue. Thus, in the State versus Anani Fiajo, 1961, Ghana Reports 416, the Supreme Court held that a presumption from circumstantial evidence should be drawn against an accused person only when the presumption follows irresistibly from the circumstances proved in evidence.
Yes.
And in order to justify the inference of guilt,
yes,
the inculpatory facts must be compatible with the innocence of the accused and incapable of explanation upon any other reasonable hypothesis than that of guilt. Yes. Then she goes on to then break down Logan versus Laverick and the Republic. I just want to conclude. So then she goes on to say, under cross-examination, PW2 provided further testament to consolidate his trade and livelihood. Then he goes on to quote some conversation and then sort of uses these two preambles he's quoted in the law reports to then conclude that there's circumstantial evidence that the assignment was done, even though it was not documentary.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
Bernard,
now
wait, I'm coming. I think that you've had your bite. Let me come.
No, but you spoke first. If you spoke, this is about the fourth time you're speaking.
I'll give you the chance. He wants to. Yeah, go ahead.
Bernard, there are different interests in land. It can be a license, it can be a lease, it can be an assignment of an interest in the land. When you say that there has been an assignment, right, it is not enough to draw same from circumstantial evidence. Do you know why? Because I can allow you to come and do business on my land, and I may not have assigned my interest in the land to you. You may have a license to do business on it, like mount a kiosk in front of my house. That wouldn't be an assignment, and you know it.
Yes, I agree.
And so if you go and find people working on my land, that may not necessarily be, the circumstance of it is such that I've allowed people to enter onto my land to do some work. That is the circumstance. But in terms of the interest that they have acquired in the land, you have to really establish it by documentary means.
Okay.
Right? Or an independent evidence to that effect. And you agree with me? Now, so if, as the judge has acknowledged, there was no witness to the arrangement, for which reason there cannot be a testimony, right, either in support or to the contrary. Okay, it is very difficult to determine that merely because somebody is on my land working, I've assigned my interest in the land to that person. That is why I'm saying that, you know, I find this judgment very problematic.
All right.
That is my preliminary comment on it, even before I go into it in detail. And that's why I'm being very cautious about it.
Okay.
Let me take your response.
Now, you've been harping on this point. Now, the point is this. The judge indicated that in the absence of direct evidence, or documentary evidence, I should say, you look to other evidence, other pieces of material evidence. And there's mention of conversation. I'm sure they called it from maybe a phone or somewhere. Now, there's also evidence of presence on the land. There's also evidence of the conduct of illegalities on the land.
That amount to an assignment.
No, please.
That
yes,
can't
because
amount to an assignment.
So the judge is saying, or the court is saying, if you deny that you did not assign the land, what steps did you take as the owner of the land, as the bona fide owner of land, to drive away the supposed trespassers? If indeed they were.
That is still not an assignment.
Yes, I'm not saying so. So you see, that is why the conclusion will be drawn irresistibly to the fact that you have assigned the people to be on the land.
We'll take a break. What I could read, let me just read 20.
All right. Roxanne Dafeamekpor any Bafowua and I will tell you on Chairman Wontumi conviction. Me the program na SC. Me jama mana mo ankasa mo leave more comment in the comment section. We am patcho share link na foforo enya bi enhwe. Message mo di jamu biem. Bye bye.